It's 2020, and the last time we did a shop tour was 2019, and that was the Hack Shack back at the old house. So being that we just finished this project where we redid half the shop, I'm gonna show you around, show you what I like, what I don't like, what we're gonna change, and basically the state of the shop in 2020. So this is the original shop area that we built, the bike shop. And that's what this is after all. It's a place to work on bikes and to do bike hacks. The bikes that I use on a regular basis, all of them go up there. The bikes that are in the bullpen, so to speak, go on these racks over here. Just recently did a little bit of work to the hardtail, and I've actually been riding this the most, so it's out here on the stand. I'm sure by now you've looked around and said, wow, this is like the most organized person in the world. Yeah, the camera gear area is in rare form. We've just accumulated so much of it so fast. I did make some effort to create some degree of organization here. If you look underneath all this crap, there is a nice charging station. We got the Sony batteries, the GoPro batteries, the Panasonic batteries. We've got the name that shall not be spoken over here. If I say it, it's gonna trigger all your smart speakers. This is a work in progress right here. So let's move on to the new addition to the shop. So first of all, you might have seen this pencil sharpener. This was gonna be like a hero shot for the video because everybody remembers these from elementary school if you're my age. I saw that it's got the different sized pencil holes over here. So I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I can actually sharpen carpentry pencils. No, biggest one does not fit in there. So like all of you guys are thinking, oh, well, maybe you just drill a hole bigger, right? So took this thing off. Yeah, it's just a waste, it's useless. It kind of ticks me off a little bit that Kevin painted the whole freaking bench over here during the wheel video. He could have like put something down. He could have, I don't know, made some kind of effort not to get overspray on my bench, but yeah, then he made a little bit of effort to sand it, and we know how that worked out. Dramas. Come on, get down, go, go. So let's start at the end right over here. We have the chop saw, or the miter saw. This has always been kind of folded up and put over in the corner, and it's just been this thing that takes up space. Now it can actually be set up semi-permanently over here. Now what's great about this thing is it actually runs on batteries. Now, when I first got it, I used like the little Ryobi drill batteries for it, and I was like, this freaking thing sucks. Like it can barely make it through a 2x4. Now I have these big old 6 amp hour batteries in it, and it works great. I can use this for multiple projects on 2 6 amp hour batteries, and it's no problem. I can drag it outside. I don't have to worry about cords. This is one of my favorite Ryobi tools. Let's look at some Ryobi tools that I don't like. This thing is an unimaginable piece of garbage. I can't even express to you how bad of a sander this is. You can't sand anything with it. I should just throw it in the garbage right now, besides the fact that I would just feel bad about it. I've considered just giving it to a friend, but I would be giving them a tool that's completely useless. This drill's been smoking lately. I don't know how much life it has. That's kind of normal for Ryobi. The impact driver I can't really complain about. It's not particularly refined, but it's done its job. It's given me years of service. This circular saw I actually love. This is another one where you really have to put the bigger battery in it. I would do 3 amp hour or better. It can make it through anything. I cut black locust with this. This thing's really not that bad. I put up all these wood panels with it. Sometimes it doesn't drive all the way in. It's really finicky. You gotta really make sure you press up against that. So I would maybe give this a C+ or B-. So for non-Ryobi tools, this Milwaukee heat gun has been amazing. It's been awesome. If you don't have a heat gun, it's not the same thing as a blow dryer. This thing will burn your hand straight off if you put your hand in front of it. A while back, I had gotten some cheap plug-in Black & Decker tools like this mouse sander. This thing's actually been great. It was like, I don't know, it was $19.99 or something like that. And it's been fine. It's got a little dust collection thing here, and you can see it actually works. So here we have the kind of desk drafting area. I put this little tap light in here and angled it towards the work surface so that I have a little light if I needed to. All my tinkering stuff is in here. In this drawer, we have measuring and drafting stuff. So I've got my graph paper, my calipers. So the sander, I've kind of plugged it in when I needed it before. Now it actually has a spot that it lives. I purposely put this closest to the door over here because it creates the most dust. It's a sander. Oh, and the drill press. We haven't really gotten to use that yet, but I have a project in mind for it. whole benefit to a drill press is you can be a lot more precise than a drill. If you're holding a drill, you're trying to hold it straight, you're trying to aim it properly, you're trying to adjust the pressure. With this, you can put your work right here, you can put a little X where you want it, you can line it up, and then turn it on, and just lower the drill bit in. So a lot more precision. We can build some really cool stuff with that. One thing I did was I teed off the air supply so that I have a blower over here and I have an inflator over there. I've still got this little Makita air compressor. Brian from BKXC bought for me as a gift, and it's been one of the most useful tools I own. Beneath all these outlets over here, we've got the wood scrap bin. To be honest, a lot of these are going to be used for starting fires, but the bigger chunks like this, we can actually use for stuff. So anytime I need a small piece of wood, instead of cutting it off a big piece of wood, I can now reach into my scrap bin, which is pretty cool. This is the job site table saw that I recessed into the workbench so that we'd have a little more surface for ripping. You can get these for 200 bucks. It's got a magnetic cover over here because the side is, you know, pretty ugly. I've got these little mounts here and a little screw on each one for these magnets to touch and latch onto. Because the table saw is particularly good at managing dust through the dust port, I pretty much let my rigid shop vac live here, always plugged in, ready to go. If I want to make a cut, I can just turn it on. Not even that loud. And yeah, pretty much most of the dust ends up in that shop vac, which is kind of cool. So one of the new additions in the shop add-on were the stairs. Now, this is the first time I've ever built like a legitimate staircase, and definitely could have done a little bit better. This top step over here gets you within an inch of the workbench. So I could have eliminated an entire step if I would have just increased the height of each of these steps by 1/3 of an inch. I might make that modification one day and just make the top step a little bigger. But I love having steps on my workbench. If we're setting up cameras to point down towards something we're working on, we can just go up here, we can set up a tripod, and we can put it out there. And because the workbench is actually 5 feet deep, that's actually really easy to do. There's plenty of space for it. Now, I'm pretty sure some killjoy is gonna report me to the building inspector of my town for not putting a railing next to this thing. Meanwhile, it's not really a staircase, it's a bike ramp. Drums, what are you doing, buddy? All right, he's gonna make a pee-pee. We should listen to Drama about that. We learned our lesson last time. He stands in the mulch and he pees on the porch. Freaking Drama. So speaking of Drama, this is Drama's spot over here, this chair. You couldn't pay him with treats to lay on that couch. He wants nothing to do with it. He only wants to be on this chair. I knew that we were gonna need a seating area when I moved in because at the last shop, there were always people looking for places to sit down because it's not only being used as a shop, it's being used as a studio to film things and to collaborate with people. So we've got the couch, we've got Drama's chair, and all of my issues of FreeHub go here. If you've never looked at FreeHub before, it is like National Geographic for mountain biking. That is exactly what it is. The pictures are the main attraction. They are the best quality pictures that you could basically have of mountain biking. This is the mothership. This is our editing station, and this is where I sit and edit. And this is where Curtis, who is behind the camera, sits and edits. So while I'm editing the weekly Sets Bike Hacks video, Curtis is editing the Berm Peak Express video. And we can bounce ideas off each other. We're right here. It's been great. Curtis has been a really good addition to the team. And having this extra spot at the desk was always sort of my plan. So in the computer department, we don't use anything too special. We don't have pro level computers. We don't have pro level speakers. We don't have pro level anything. We're using all consumer grade things because I don't think that pro stuff necessarily makes a better video. It will if you've reached the limits of the consumer stuff, but we certainly haven't. We're editing in 4K. I'd say we're releasing pretty high quality stuff, and this works for us. It doesn't slow us down. Both Curtis and I are using Final Cut Pro. You can only use Final Cut Pro on an Apple machine. If it wasn't for Final Cut Pro, I don't even know if I'd have an Apple in here. You can get a lot more for your money with a Windows computer. A lot of people want to start their own YouTube channel and they want to start editing, so they ask me what they should get. I think if you are just starting, you should get DaVinci Resolve. It's free, it's really good, it's really stable, and I think it's going to get more and more popular over the next few years. So if you're starting out, I would probably learn that. So this is our coffee and snack station over here. The coffee station gets a lot of use for me because I drink a lot of coffee, and Kevin pretty much takes care of the snack station. All right, so we're gonna have to talk about the voiceover booth. All my voiceovers since I moved to Berm Peak have been done under here, and people are like, you really crawl under there every time you do a voiceover? Oh yeah. I lift this up, I crawl underneath, and then I'm in my voiceover booth. And in here, there's no echo whatsoever. So there's tons of echo out there. In here, it's like super sweet. It's awesome. I've got my condenser mic right here. I've got it on a shock mount. Everything is just as it should be. I have not done any modifications to the voiceover booth since moving in. It's been working out perfectly. It's not broken, why fix it? It's ridiculous, but it works, man. Now, a lot of people have asked me, why don't you put a door on the voiceover booth and you just open up the door and walk in, right? Like, wouldn't that make sense? That is a good point, but where would I put the door? So if I put the door here, I couldn't have my desk right here. If I put the door here, we couldn't have Curtis's desk. If we put the door here, we couldn't have this whole snack section, and it works as a staircase to get up to the top, set up cameras and stuff. Yeah, I guess this gear section sucks. So maybe I could put a door over here, but once I improve it, we're gonna want this whole gear section. Now, some people have said, hey, why don't you put a hatch in the top? That's actually more difficult for me. Remember, I'm 5'4". It's pretty easy for me to get down there and crawl under. To climb up this and then lower myself down like Bugs Bunny hole, like into the voiceover booth would just, yeah, it's not better. This is a perfectly good solution for me. I don't have to worry about anybody coming in there and bothering me while I'm doing a voiceover. Nobody wants to go in there. So here we have the bug zapper. I'm not gonna get too into why it's attached to the plug here and that this light is unplugged. It's a motion light that just you can't disable. It drives me nuts. But we are going to take this bug zapper down and empty it out. Now, the reason I have this bug zapper here is because sometimes I leave the garage doors open, and year round, even in the middle of the winter, we get bugs in here, namely stink bugs and moths. And at nighttime, when all the lights are off, this is the only source of light in the shop and catches all of them, as you can see. But it's been a while since I brought it down and cleaned it out. All right, let's see how this works out. We'll fertilize moonshangle thickets. Well, that got most of them. You can just knock the rest of these guys out of here and clean, ready for another season. Should still go. All right, I have a little bit of a surprise that I want to show you. I've never showed this on the channel, and it's pretty amazing because of how high the ceilings are in the garage. You would think that's it, there's nothing above it. There is something above it. All right, I'm gonna grab this ladder. Oh, watch out, landmine. Okay, so that hatch goes above the ceiling that you guys are used to seeing in the garage, and what you're gonna see is there's actually a tremendous amount of space there. Like, I'll climb this ladder however, but I'm trying to find a safe way for you to do it. Yeah, this is fine. As you can see, I'm standing straight up and there's space above my head. So even with that super high ceiling in the garage, there's all this freaking space up in this attic. I've considered making like a fireman pole down to the workbench, opening up the ceiling. Like, in the future, this could be something really cool. Like, if I eventually have kids, this could be like a play area. We could make a floor in here. I don't know, but it's kind of exciting to think of all the possibilities of this place. So that's our 2020 shop tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing what was up there. If you haven't noticed, you're not watching my main channel, you're watching Berm Peak Express. This is a second channel where we do videos like this that are less scripted, less planned. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. And to the rest of you, thanks for riding with me today. I'll see you next time. And yeah, listen, I haven't been, what are you doing, buddy? Drama's puffing. Look, buddy. Good boy.